She was just 27, a law school graduate with everything ahead of her, a future in justice, a close circle of friends, and a quiet apartment in Macon, Georgia. But within days of graduation, silence. Her phone stopped ringing, her door stayed locked, and what began as concern soon became one of the most unsettling investigations the city had ever seen. Lauren Teresa Giddings was born on April 18, 1984, in Maryland. She was the eldest of 3 sisters and quickly became a source of inspiration within her family. Known for her bright personality and quiet determination, Lauren's early years reflected both discipline and warmth. Her parents described her as compassionate, intelligent, and remarkably focused from a young age. She excelled academically and developed an interest in justice and community service. As the first in her family to attend college, she understood the weight of her achievement and carried it with humility and dedication. Friends remembered her as genuine and kind-hearted, with an easy smile that made her approachable to everyone she met. Lauren pursued higher education with purpose. After completing her undergraduate studies, she enrolled at Mercer University School of Law in Macon, Georgia. Her ambition was to serve as a public defender, advocating for those without a voice. At Mercer, she balanced demanding coursework with an active campus presence. She became president of the Federalist Society's Mercer chapter, earning respect for her leadership and work ethic. Her professors viewed her as an exemplary student who combined intellect with empathy, qualities that defined her both personally and professionally. Outside of academics, Lauren maintained strong relationships and lived a well-balanced life. She had a supportive boyfriend, close friends, and a daily routine centered on running and staying active. Her optimism, resilience, and warmth made her beloved by classmates and faculty alike. At Mercer University, Lauren stood out for her integrity and determination. She took her academic responsibilities seriously, often spending long hours in the library preparing cases and participating in discussions about law and justice. She served as president of the Federalist Society, while Stephen McDaniel, a quiet and introverted classmate, served as vice president. Both lived next door to each other at Barristers Hall Apartments, sharing professional interactions through their law school society. Although familiar, their personalities could not have been more different. Lauren was outgoing, confident, and approachable, while McDaniel was reserved and often kept to himself. Lauren's boyfriend, also a law student, was a steady presence in her life, providing companionship during her demanding academic years. Friends often saw them together studying or attending gatherings. Her relationships reflected balance and maturity, grounding her amid the pressures of law school life. By June 2011, Lauren had just graduated and was preparing for the Georgia bar examination. Her determination intensified as she focused solely on studying. She had recently returned from Maryland, where she attended her sister Caitlin's wedding, and came back to her apartment in Macon, ready to resume her studies. Friends noticed that she had become quieter, devoting her time almost entirely to exam preparation. Her boyfriend, also preparing for the bar, supported her need for focus and isolation. Though she reduced communication, Lauren still remained in touch with loved ones, responding to messages and calls as usual. However, by June 29, 2011, her phone went silent. Friends and family began to worry as calls went unanswered and messages remained unread. Initially, they assumed she was busy, but her continued silence was uncharacteristic. On June 30th, her family contacted the Macon Police Department. Her father drove from Maryland, while her mother arranged to fly down. What began as concern soon turned into fear, as Lauren's absence defied everything known about her responsible nature. Police began investigating immediately, starting with interviews of those closest to Lauren. Detectives spoke with her boyfriend, close friends, and several neighbors at Barristers Hall. Among the first to be questioned was a friend named Whitemeyer who had reportedly seen Lauren shortly before she went missing. Investigators reviewed his statements carefully, establishing his timeline and cross-verifying it with phone and witness records. Whitemeyer's cooperation and consistent answers quickly ruled him out as a suspect. His composure and willingness to assist reassured investigators that he had no involvement in Lauren's disappearance. This early phase demonstrated the methodical approach of the police as they explored all possible leads without premature conclusions. Once Whitemeyer was cleared, investigators began turning their attention toward individuals living in closer proximity to Lauren, especially those who interacted with her regularly. When police gained access to Lauren's apartment, they were met with a scene that appeared disturbingly normal. Her car was still parked outside. Inside, her purse, phone, laptop, and keys were found untouched. There were no signs of forced entry, theft, or struggle. Everything seemed frozen in time. Detectives carefully documented the scene, taking note of the orderliness and absence of disturbance. To them, it appeared that Lauren either left willingly or had opened the door to someone she trusted. Officers began interviewing residents of Barristers Hall to construct a timeline. Stephen McDaniel, her neighbor and classmate, was among those questioned. Initially, he appeared calm, cooperative, and somewhat detached. He provided basic answers but avoided unnecessary details. Lauren's boyfriend emphasized to police that her disappearance was completely out of character. She was disciplined, organized, and never failed to inform someone of her whereabouts. With little to go on, investigators expanded the search to nearby areas, checking parking lots, dumpsters, and wooded grounds for any trace of evidence. On June 30, 2011, the case took a devastating turn. A maintenance worker investigating a strong odor near the complex discovered a trash can behind Barristers Hall. Inside was a dismembered torso, later identified through DNA as belonging to Lauren Giddings. The discovery transformed a missing person report into a homicide investigation. Detectives immediately secured the area and informed her family. That same day, McDaniel was brought back for questioning. This time, his behavior changed noticeably. Once calm and conversational, he now appeared distant, confused, and unresponsive. During his interrogation, he provided one-word answers and avoided eye contact. Investigators noted his disconnection and strange affect, describing it as inconsistent with the behavior of a concerned neighbor. During a live television interview, when reporters informed him of the body's discovery, his reaction, stunned silence, fueled suspicion. Officers also noticed a fresh scratch on his chest, which he claimed was from a spider bite. Combined with his hesitation to permit a search of his apartment, these details made investigators increasingly wary of his role in the crime. A search warrant for McDaniel's apartment revealed disturbing evidence. Investigators found multiple weapons, including knives, firearms, and a hacksaw. Forensic testing showed the hacksaw contained traces of Lauren's blood and tissue. The packaging and receipts recovered from McDaniel's home confirmed that he had recently purchased it. In addition, police seized his computer, uncovering videos of him secretly recording Lauren through her apartment window. The footage showed him watching her from outside at night, indicating a prolonged obsession and premeditation. The digital evidence confirmed he had been surveilling her for weeks. Forensic teams also examined Lauren's bathroom using luminol, which revealed extensive traces of blood on the floor and walls, confirming that the dismemberment occurred there. The pattern of evidence suggested a calculated crime. McDaniel had used a master key to enter Lauren's apartment around 4:30 a.m., strangled her in her sleep, and later dismembered her body in the bathtub. His calm demeanor and reclusive nature masked an underlying fixation that had escalated into violence. In 2014, After years of forensic analysis and overwhelming evidence, Stephen McDaniel pleaded guilty to the murder of Lauren Giddings. His defense team negotiated a plea deal to avoid the death penalty. The agreement required a full written confession in exchange for a life sentence with the possibility of parole after 30 years. During the hearing, McDaniel described how he entered Lauren's apartment quietly while she slept on June 26, 2011, and strangled her to death. The following day, he returned to dismember her body in the bathroom. He admitted flushing her fingers down the toilet to eliminate evidence of defensive wounds and disposing of the remaining body parts in dumpsters near the building. The torso, however, was found in the trash can outside the apartments. Prosecutors presented DNA, video evidence, and receipts to corroborate his confession. McDaniel showed little emotion throughout the proceedings. The court accepted his plea, and he was sentenced to life in prison with parole eligibility after 30 years. For Lauren's family, the sentence brought justice, but not peace. The confession ended a 3-year investigation that had gripped the Macon community and exposed the horror behind a seemingly ordinary neighbor. Following McDaniel's conviction, a series of appeals followed. Representing himself, he filed petitions claiming constitutional violations, ineffective counsel, and procedural errors. He alleged that his rights were breached during searches and that his legal team failed to defend him adequately. Each claim was reviewed and denied by the courts, which found no grounds to overturn his conviction. His self-filed habeas corpus petitions were also rejected. In 2018, he argued again for retrial, but judges upheld the original sentence. While McDaniel sought legal relief, Lauren's family and friends dedicated themselves to preserving her legacy. They described her as compassionate, disciplined, and unwavering in her commitment to justice. In her memory, they established scholarships and programs supporting aspiring law students who shared her values. Mercer University honored her life and achievements, remembering her as a symbol of perseverance and integrity. The case continued to attract public attention, not only for its brutality, but for McDaniel's unsettling behavior during the investigation. Footage of his live interview, where he feigned concern near the crime scene, became one of the most haunting visuals in modern true crime coverage. His reaction upon learning of the torso's discovery became emblematic of deceit and pretense. As of 2024, Stephen McDaniel remains incarcerated at Hancock State Prison in Georgia, serving a life sentence with the possibility of parole after 30 years. Lauren Giddings' story endures as both a tragedy and a reminder of vigilance. Her name remains tied to resilience, kindness, and an unrelenting pursuit of justice. Through remembrance events, memorial scholarships, and the enduring impact she left on her peers, Lauren's life continues to represent hope within the legal community. Though the case has long been resolved, its lessons persist about trust, awareness, and the quiet dangers that can hide behind familiar faces.